In this video, we're going to be looking at fatigue in Total War Attila Patch 1.3, or Patch 3 if you will. Now, the cost of running and performing different actions has been reduced substantially, and I will put the actual numbers in the description. We will also look at them a bit closer, but this is going to be a more practical video. We're going to see how far the different units can run before becoming fatigued. And as you can see, I've upgraded some units. We have Persian mounted bows. They are light cavalry. They also have resistance to fatigue, and they are upgraded. Then we have Spar, both upgraded, not upgraded. Then we have Elite Immortals. And the reason why I've upgraded some of these units is that upgrading them is going to increase resistance to fatigue. So they can run around for longer. I'll just speed up here so we can speed up the fatigue part. You can see this unit is now active, but the Persian mounted bows are able to reach the end of the battlefield and still remain fresh. The same with the very heavy shock cavalry. The Spar is winded, but it's almost covered the entire battlefield before it got winded. And now we'll just allow these units to rest, and we'll have a look at the infantry, because this could be quite important. So yeah, this Elite Immortal unit is now tired, and you can see the speed difference is starting to become a factor, but it isn't really huge. And the thing is, this was supposed to make aggressive gameplay more viable, because it would make your man fatigue less quickly when just running around. And you can see the Elite Immortals, they do fatigue, but well, they, for all the intents and purposes, they don't. If you can run the entire length of the battlefield and end up just being like these Elite Immortals, just being very tired, and these Spar also not being exhausted. If you consider that most, and now I'm talking about multiplayer here, most multiplayer battles will usually happen in an area that is about something like this. You have the army starting. Most people deploy at the front of their deployment. Some people will deploy slightly further back, but deploying to the front is going to give you the most space to kite away, and it's also going to allow you to engage your enemy and not move too much. But if you look at the distances here, these guys ran from about here to over there and got exhausted. But this distance is, if we look at it from bird's eye view here is the entire battlefield, and this distance is about a third of the battlefield. And a lot of the time you will see the engagements happening something like this. And if you want to flank with cavalry, you might be running a distance that's about this with your cavalry. So for practical maneuvering purposes, units don't really fatigue, because once you stop, the fatigue regenerates so quickly, or the stamina regenerates so quickly, that you can just stop, move, and then your units will basically never fatigue. So while the penalties for being fatigued are now massive, and fatigue should be avoided at all costs, especially fighting a fresh unit against a unit that isn't fatigued, it's going to be a lot harder to manage to get your units fatigued. They're going to have to run for a long time before they start to fatigue in any meaningful way. So one thing that sort of nudges the gameplay of Attila towards even more maneuvering, even more micro, even more moving about. But this could be very good for a certain class of cavalry, and we'll have a look at that in another video. But fatigue has been reduced by 2 or 3 times when performing the tasks that would fatigue you in the previous patch. So something to keep in mind. You can move your units around a lot more than you could in the previous patch. Strength and honor.